everyone and welcome back to the channel for another build video. So today we are in the desert in Eternity Isle for a build that I've been waiting a while to do. Now if you guys watch my live streams or you've seen things from me before, you will know that I obviously bought the Flow V8 Cafe and I did the interior a while ago and I did post it up on my channel, so it'll be in the description if you haven't seen the interior. But I really wanted to do the exterior. However, ever since the update, I had a really bad glitch. Now when I went to explore the update, I saw that my V8 Cafe craftable time bending furniture piece was completely bugged. It kind of just turned into a disco party gas station. The pumps would just glitch different textures around the biome, and I crafted more to see if there was just an issue with the first one I had, but every single one I crafted had the same issue. So that really made me sad because I wanted to create a really cool outdoor space inspired by the movie to kind of fit this building, but I couldn't do it. So I did send a ticket into Gameloft, and within about a week, if that, they actually did either fix it or it just miraculously fixed, but I'm assuming they did, so if they did, thank you so much. But they were fixed, and I had all the ones in my inventory that I'd crafted were now usable. I was so excited. So as soon as I saw that, I knew that I had to get on to doing an outdoor build for this. Now this is obviously completely inspired by the movie. I wanted to be inspired by both the movie scenes using this furniture piece as well as the Route 66 kind of inspired Radiator Springs areas you have in Disney parks. So I did look up a lot of reference pictures of both to get a really good idea of how to create this. So that was my inspiration, so let's get started. To start off with, I am in obviously the Glittering Dunes, and I'm in this really kind of flat open middly section. This did originally have my Hercules build in here, however I knew that I would need some space in the desert to do this build, and this area just worked the best with the furniture that I had and kind of the spacing for everything. So I went in and added obviously the V8 Cafe itself, as well as 4 of the crafted furniture pieces. Obviously these do take a lot of resources to craft. You do need the V8 kind of fragments, you need a lot of mist, and obviously some other things to be able to get these, so they are quite of a grind to craft. So these did take me a while to get everything sort of sorted for, but I was very glad I did, and I wanted to use multiple of these to fit the reference images. Obviously in the reference images there is more than this, but I knew it would take up way too much space in here, and kind of I wouldn't be able to do much else with the rest of the biome if I did use more than this. So I did just stick to 4, and I started by going in with some of the asphalt bordered paving to create a road. This one just works really well to make a road that's a very similar texture. You could also use Touch of Magic rugs to create obviously a more realistic road, but I just prefer using this. I think it looks a lot more natural, and obviously just wouldn't cause any issues if I did use this for a dream snap. So I did go in with that, and I started sort of paving in both the road and the pavement around it, which I just used the bordered natural stone pathway, as it just looked very kind of rustic and desert light and just fit this really well. And I started figuring out the layout of both of those types of path. Once I had done both of the pathways, I went in and did my usual trick, which is to place in a lot of the furniture I knew I was going to be using. Now, I know for a lot of people this may look a bit kind of chaotic and overwhelming because there's so much furniture out by the end of it. However, with the way my brain works, I just find it so much easier to go through my whole furniture list, place out everything I think I'm going to use, and then as I go through and I start moving things about to where I want them to be in the build, I then obviously delete the ones that I know I'm not going to be using. Obviously this may not work for everyone, that's just personally how I enjoy doing it. So this bit is a little bit chaotic, but I do promise they do start going into their natural places throughout the build as we go forward. Now, something I really did want to focus on in this build, obviously as the kind of like main furniture item is in the middle, and then obviously we have the other kind of gas stations around the side, a big thing in this build for me was symmetry. So with these bigger furniture pieces, I did keep them very symmetrical. However, when it comes to all the smaller furniture items, I wanted to be able to use similar items but just position them very differently so that it did look really natural. So a lot of the things in here were kind of more on that basis. The only things I did keep symmetrical was I used some of the Monsters Inc. Scream canisters. They are a really good way to kind of make it look like these are car parts. Obviously, knowing Disney, they're not. They're from Monsters Inc. However, when I looked at the reference images, in between the gas stations, there was a lot of like car parts and things full of gas, and I felt like these were the best thing to represent those, so I would recommend those. They're a really, really good way to kind of get that element across. Plus, they are from Scrooge's shop, so they are pretty easy to get your hands on. Obviously, one of them was from the Star Path, but as it was recent, I know most people probably have them. But a lot of the stuff in here is either from Star Path. There are a couple of premium shop items obviously dotted about, and then there are quite a few craftables. So it is a bit of a mix in here. So if there's anything you see that you don't particularly recognize, it may be something that was in the game previously or is a craftable item. Now, as you can see, we are at the point with the build where everything is a bit of a chaotic mess and can look quite overwhelming, but everything I've placed out is things that I knew would work well in the build. And as you can see, I'm at the point now where I'm starting to rearrange them, being able to fit them around at the gas pumps and figure out where things work best. Obviously, I do go in and chop and change where things are a lot based on what I feel like works well for the build, but I did want to kind of keep it very structured but also have all the items out ready that I could start rearranging, so that is what I'm doing now. Now, as I go into the back section, you do see I do extend this into this back corner. I did originally put in the Mickey water tower, which is a craftable that we recently got in our mailbox. So if you don't have the resources to craft it, you should have got one recently from the community challenge. But I did want to create this little back section, and as you see as I go forward, I do start adding in a bunch of things. But this area is kind of like a car repair area. I wanted this to kind of seem like where the cars who are really kind of like run down and need a lot of TLC, they are parked here to be fixed on and worked on. And I kind of started placing items around that I felt like made sense for that, so a lot of tools and things like that. I used the Big Hero 6 counter and tool set that we got in the premium shop previously. That was perfect in here because it obviously just tied really, really well, and it gives off the idea that they're kind of tools to repair the cars. So I did start figuring out that area, as well as figuring out how I was going to arrange the furniture in this little courtyard area at the front. I wanted to make like a little seating area and little snack area, so it feels like people who have stopped off at the gas station can go here and grab a snack and grab something to eat. And I wanted it to feel like a very natural area that you'd go to at like a road stop, but also just have a really nice kind of like Disney touch to it, so it felt a lot more kind of bright and colourful. I knew this build was going to be best to enjoy during nighttime because of the bright lights of the building and the gas stations, I knew I wanted to include a lot of lighting around the whole build. So I used lighting of different colours. I used some of the little Mickey neon lights that give out this really gorgeous blue light, just to tie it all together and bring a lot of lighting throughout the whole build. I didn't want any of it to feel very like gloomy or lost when it's dark, so I kind of used all of that to tie it all together and make sure the lighting kind of spread throughout the whole build, so it felt like this really bright gas station you would see when you are stopping off at a gas stop, like along the side of the road or something like that, and kind of fit with the car's theme. Now, something that worked really well as a furniture item in here, which you probably wouldn't suspect because it's so small, are these cones. I think these are Wally furniture, and these are like the perfect thing to put in a build like this because obviously they're traffic cones, and they just worked really well to bring some extra colour. And then I went in and added some of the really small little jar lamps. I like these because they look like outdoor lamps. Again, this was just to add more lighting throughout the build to make sure everything glowed how I wanted it to, and I kind of was looking around and making sure everything was tweaked in here and there wasn't any furniture items I had missed. Obviously, when I went through and placed all the furniture out, there were things I thought I might miss. And then I added the Nala Lagoon at the back right corner just to block this section out. I knew it would be filled with trees and things anyways to kind of block it out, but I felt like that would be a good item to fit in there. And then I went around the kind of car repair area with this iron fencing. Now, I don't use this fencing very often because I feel like it just looks really kind of like sad. It just kind of looks like a prison fence. However, for this build, it actually worked perfectly because it worked to kind of show off this like car repair area. Sometimes when you see like a scrapyard, that is the kind of fencing you see in there. So that was kind of the vibe I wanted to go for. And then I started going in with trees. Now in here I obviously mainly used the desert trees. I wanted it to feel very desert-like, very kind of like side of the road in the middle of a desert somewhere. So I used a lot of those trees to dot about in different heights. Then I did go in and add some more of the other styles of trees, as well as some cacti I do go in and add. And I also add in some of the foliage as well. I didn't use too much because I didn't want it to feel too overgrown, but I did add some in just in some spots to bring a little bit of extra color to block out areas that just needed that little bit more. And I also added in some palm trees to again fit with the kind of like tropical but desert style vibe and bring a lot more color into everything. Once I had done all the foliage, I then went and added some time bending pieces and like droppable items. So I added a lot of the different time fragments, the ones that just made the most sense with the build. So obviously I use some of the V8 ones, as well as some like of the wheels that go with the inside out item, also some of the fire extinguishers, things like that, things that just made sense to be in a kind of like car repair place. I also used some of the other time bending pieces you get, like the ancient parts, just because I felt like they made sense to seem like parts that are being used to be working on the cars, and I dotted these about throughout the build to just add a little bit more character to everything. So this is the final build. Now I have made it nighttime because obviously this is when the build just looks its best and is just absolutely glowing. So when we first walk in, we obviously have our little table seating area with just some lights on the table, some snacks about. We have the popcorn and ice cream machine, as well as the confectionery table, which I've added lots of sweet treats to. And then we have our grand view of the gas station itself. I've obviously added some other little bits and bobs about, and in the gas station we have a lot of the time bending pieces all dotted around, lots of balloons, lots of lights, and obviously lots of vehicles about. I used some of the black, red and yellow balloons because they match the best with the theme, and I also added some lights behind as well. As we head behind everything, obviously we get to our little car scrapyard. There are some bikes in here as well to kind of seem like the people who work here use those. And then we have some vehicles that are clearly being worked on with lots of resources around to do that. Some vending machines and some other kind of items hidden behind, like the Mickey water tower and things like that. And the whole build is just kind of all glowing with everything dotted around for the entertainment. So this is the final build. As I said, it's best enjoyed at night time. It looks absolutely gorgeous. I love how it turned out. I'm really happy that my gas stations are working now, and I was able to create this really cool section in my desert, and I just love how it turned out. I think this is going to stay like this for a good long while, and I really can't wait to add some other things to this. I hope we get things in the future that can be added in here. Anything that's, again, cars related would be really cool to add in, but I really did enjoy creating it, and I'm very glad that my gas pump stations were working and fixed so that I could do this. I hope you guys like the build. If there's anything you think I should add or change in here, do let me know down below. I'd be very interested to see. And if there's anything you want to see on the channel, again, do let me know. I do have a list of things that are coming up that people have either requested or I have kind of like had the inspiration to create. So there is quite a few that are down there to be recorded and go up on the channel. But if there's anything in particular you do want to see, please do let me know. I love hearing from you guys. Make sure you like and subscribe. And thank you so much for all the support on the channel and on the live streams. It's been so lovely chatting to all of you, and I'm very grateful for all the support. Make sure you have a lovely week, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.